So here we have the fire truck image loaded into Photoshop. The first thing I'm going to do is get the image to the correct size and resolution that I want to work with. Even before I do that, I'm going to crop it down to the fire truck size. We don't really need to be working on anything other than the fire truck. So crop that down to size. Now we get the image to the size that we want to work with. And when using the line drawing routine, you want to have a 300 pixels per inch image. As with most standard digital cameras taking photographs, they take low resolution, very large images. So I'm going to change that to 30 centimeters wide, which is a standard t-shirt size, and 300. Now this is a pretty good quality photograph to start with, so this is going to make your job a lot easier. Now if we come to the easier actions list, this set of buttons you see over on the right hand side here, these are all the different easy art routines. Depending on what you're going to do will determine which set of buttons you're going to use. In this particular case, what I'm going to do is the image is a little flat, it's a little dull and flat, so I'm going to click on this button here, Improve Image RGB. What that's going to do is lift the colors, make them a bit lighter and brighter, add a bit more contrast. Probably a bit hard to see on the monitor there, but its image is a little better. So I'll close down the original image. Don't need to save that. And we'll work on this new and improved one. In actual fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it a little lighter. What you do here only comes with experience. And in fact, if you do any of the separation routines, or in this case, sort of like a line drawing routine, if it doesn't come out how you expect it to, just go back and make adjustments to the original image and run the routine again. It's always better to fix up the original image than spend too much time working on the separations. Right, now the first thing we've got to do is we've got to make a mask. This is a standard easy art mask, so if I come down to the blue buttons here, click on make a mask. Now usually what you'd do is you'd use the pen tool. You zoom into the image and you start to trace around the outline or the outside of the truck, just the area you want to keep in your design. Now I'm going to do this very quickly. You will of course take a lot more care and a lot more time, but just to speed things along, I'm going to erase around this so you get the idea. But it's always a good idea to keep the easy art mask very simple, don't get too complicated. You can spend a bit more time going around the outline very carefully, including every little bump and handle, rivet, nut, up to you how much time you want to spend on it. But as you can see, I can get through this pretty quick. And it'll still give us a pretty good job. There are a few of the easy art routines that use the easy art mask, so it's worthwhile putting in a bit of practice. Like I said, not too good, but you'll get the idea. And there we have it. So I'm going to close the mask. Get a selection. Make sure your pixels is 0. Make sure your pixels is 0 and anti-alias is not checked. Now we're going to fill that selection with 100% black. Now it'll show up on the screen as purple, which is the default color for this mask, but you fill with 100% black, not 100% purple. Now it's very important that once you've done that, you click on the Make a Mask button again to complete that routine. Very important. So if we just have a look at the channels list, you can see that mask has been made there. I'll just zoom out so you can have a better look. Not too bad, but I'm sure you can do a much better job. Now, the next thing to do before we separate the colors, I'm going to click on this blue button that says Artist's Impression. Now what that does is that converts this photograph into a more graphic style image, and it also adds that outline and a lot of contrast. The outline's created using that mask that you just made. The mask is also used to remove all the background. Now how fast or how slow these routines go is determined entirely by the speed of your computer. Routines always run exactly the same. And it's also important that you don't push any buttons at all while the routines are running. You have to wait till they're completed. If you do get any error messages halfway through a routine, you have to stop and start again from the beginning. There you can see our graphic image. Looks more like a bit more like clip art. Now to separate that, I'm going to come down here and click on Separate for Colored Shirts. This will create a set of separations so that you can print on any colored shirt. If we have a look in the channels list, this is where these separations are created. Now that'll separate into your Easy Art standard 12 colors. Now of course you're not going to print this as 12 colors. In actual fact, we're going to do this as a 3-color print, maybe 4. 4 is probably better, but we'll have a look at that. So let's have a look. So the default color t-shirt that we're going to print on is grey. Let's change that t-shirt color to, let's say, a blue. Say we're going to print this shirt onto, we're going to print this onto a blue shirt. So if we go through the separated channels, we've got a white base. Obviously, if you're going to print on any shirt other than white, you will have to print the white base. The yellow. There's the yellow for the stripe that we need. We've got a lot of yellow in other areas that we may or may not need, up to you if you want to keep it. And the red, all the colors appear to be a bit light. We've got to strengthen these colors up. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to remove everything outside that stripe. So I'm just going to make a very quick selection around the stripe, because I only want the stripe to be yellow. Select inverse, fill that selection with the 100% white, that's the same as deleting it, and then deselect. So now I only have the yellow in the stripe area. Now I'm going to make that a lot darker. If we have a look on that on the blue shirt, even with the white base, the yellow is still very light. So what I'm going to do is strengthen that. Very easy way to do that is come down to the Easy Art adjustment buttons, and I'm just going to click on increase color and channel. Basically what that's doing is, if you have a look at that yellow stripe, it gets a little darker, closer to black. What that means, what that translates to, is that when you actually screen print it, you get a more solid yellow. I'm going to do the same thing with the red here. Pretty good. What I'm also going to do is, you can see the red, some of the red is overprinting on the yellow, so I'm going to remove that. Now how I do that is by holding down select the yellow channel, and by holding down the control key on a PC or the command key on a Mac, click on that yellow channel, and you can see all of that area that's on the yellow channel has been selected. Come back to the red and fill that with white. As before, that's the same as deleting it. So now that red is not going to overprint the yellow. Deselect. So there's the two main colors, yellow and red, and of course black. Let's have a look at the black channel. You can see we've got some grey areas here. What that's doing is that's simulating a darker red than their standard Easy Art red. Now we don't want that, so first thing I'm going to do is just a quick levels adjustment. Levels is quite important to learn in Photoshop. If you're not familiar with the levels, it's a good feature to learn because it does help you manipulate the separations later on. So I'm going to click on the white eyedropper and just click on that light grey area. So now that's transformed everything from that shade of grey to white. It's basically removed it from the image. You can see we've got a lot of extra scratchy bits on this black. Now we can remove some of that by doing a curve adjustment. Whether or not you do that, it's entirely up to you and usually determined by the budget. So if I move that curve adjustment to a bit lighter, you can see a lot of that scratchy stuff is gone. You have to be careful because you're also removing detail out of the image. So you've got to be careful you don't go too far. Now, so if we turn on black, red and yellow, that's basically your 3-color print. Or if you're going to print on a coloured shirt, obviously you've got to print the white as well. That will give you a 4-color print. And probably another good one to print would be the grey. The grey gives your image a lot more depth. So if you're printing onto a coloured shirt, I would print that black, medium grey, red, yellow and white, 5-color print. If you print it onto a white shirt, you don't need the white base. You print a 4-color print. Now you can eliminate the medium grey by adding all of that grey information as a halftone to the black. And how we do that automatically is we've got a button here that says Combine Medium Grey. So that's just taken all of that information that was on the grey, added it to the black, so when you output your black, it outputs that grey as a halftone, giving you a simulated grey. You're going to get a better result if you actually print grey, but if you're limited to the number of colours you can print, that's how you would do it. And of course if you use the light blue as well, on the windscreen there you can see it showing up a bit, your picture's going to be even more accurate. Up to you how many colours you want to print. And that's pretty much how you separate an image like that to down to like a more clip art type image, and in fact you can get it down to 3 colours, red, yellow and black.